Peppa Pig, Peppa and the Flying Vet. Peppa has brought Goldie the fish to the vet for a checkup. "You've got a healthy fish, Peppa," says Dr. Hamster. "Thank you," says Peppa. Suddenly, Dr. Hamster's telephone rings. It is Mr. Elephant. "Hello, Dr. Hamster," he says. "We found a sick lizard in the mountains." It's a gecko, not a lizard," adds Edmund Elephant. "I'll be right there," says Dr. Hamster. Dr. Hamster springs into action. "Can we come too?" asks Peppa. "Of course," replies the vet. "All aboard the aeroplane." "I didn't know you had an aeroplane, Dr. Hamster," says Mummy Pig. "Oh yes," replies Dr. Hamster proudly. "I'm the flying vet." Mr. Elephant spots the aeroplane in the sky. "Thank goodness," he exclaims. "The vet is here." When Dr. Hamster lands, she calls, "Where's the sick lizard?" "This poor lizard is upside down," says Dr. Hamster, flipping it over. "There, he's all better." Then Dr. Hamster's mobile phone rings. "This must be another emergency," she says, answering the call. "Hello, Grandpa Pig here," says Grandpa Pig. "It's Polly, she's sick." "I'll be right there," promises Dr. Hamster. So Peppa, George and Mummy Pig jump back into the aeroplane. "Look, Polly, it's the flying vet," cries Grandpa Pig when he sees the airplane. "We're going into the sea," cries Peppa. "This is a seaplane, Peppa," says Dr. Hamster. "We can land on the water." "Polly has been ill since we got on board," explains Grandpa Pig. "She must be seasick," says Dr. Hamster. And when Grandpa Pig puts Polly on dry land, she soon feels much better. Dr. Hamster's mobile phone rings again. It is Daddy Pig in his office. "There are some ducklings stuck on our roof," says Daddy Pig. "You're just in time," says Daddy Pig. "Mrs. Duck laid her eggs on our roof," says Mrs. Cat.
Meow.
"And they hatched," adds Mr. Rabbit. "But the ducklings don't know the way to the pond." "Who can make a quacking noise?" asks Dr. Hamster. "Quack, quack," says Peppa, and the ducklings follow her back to the pond. Dr. Hamster's phone rings for a fourth time. "Is it another emergency?" asks Peppa hopefully. "Yes, that was Mr. Hamster," says Dr. Hamster. "I'm late for tea. Must fly." "Thanks for your help," everyone cries, waving her off in her airplane. "No problem," Dr. Hamster calls. "It's all in a day's work for the flying vet." The end. Peppa Pig, Peppa's busy day. It is 7 o'clock. Move the big hand to the 12 and the little hand to the 7. At 7 o'clock in the morning, Peppa wakes up. "Time to get up, George," cries Peppa. It is 8 o'clock. Move the big hand to the 12 and the little hand to the 8. At 8 o'clock, Peppa has breakfast. "Yummy," says Peppa. Can I have some more, please? It is 9 o'clock. Move the big hand to the 12 and the little hand to the 9. At 9 o'clock, Peppa and George go to playgroup. Dinosaur, says George. It is 12 o'clock. Move the big hand to the 12 and the little hand to the 12. At 12 o'clock, Madame Gazelle takes everyone for a picnic lunch. I love picnics, says Peppa. It is 2 o'clock. Move the big hand to the 12 and the little hand to the 2. At 2 o'clock, Mammy and Daddy Pig pick up Peppa and George in their car. Toot toot! It is 3 o'clock. Move the big hand to the 12 and the little hand to the 3. At 3 o'clock, Peppa and George go to the playground. Swing time, shouts Peppa and Rebecca Rabbit. It's 6 o'clock. Move the big hand to the 12 and the little hand to the 6. At 6 o'clock, it's time for dinner. Pancakes, cheers Peppa. They're my favourite. It is 7 o'clock. Move the big hand to the 12 and the little hand to the 7. At 7 o'clock, Peppa and George get ready for bed. Time to scrub and brush, says Peppa. It is 8 o'clock. Move the big hand to the 12 and the little hand to the 8. At 8 o'clock, it's bedtime. Mammy and Daddy Pig come in to say goodnight. But Peppa and George are fast asleep. The end. Peppa Pig Simple Science. It is playtime at Peppa's playgroup, but the playground is already busy. Stop! Shouts Mr. Bull. Mr. Bull, what are you doing to our playground? Asks Peppa. We're digging it up, replies Mr. Bull. Mr. Bull loves digging. Daddy Pig arrives. He has planned a new playground using maths and science.
Wow!
Today, children, I am going to teach you some simple science, says Daddy Pig. Can you guess how many of you it would take to lift Madame Gazelle? It is time to find out the answer. Peppa cannot lift Madame Gazelle. Peppa and Danny Dog cannot lift Madame Gazelle. But Peppa, Danny and Susie Sheep can do it together. It takes 3 children to lift Madame Gazelle. We just did some simple science, says Daddy Pig. Now please make a tower of blocks. Rebecca Rabbit, Pedro Pony, Zoe Zebra and Emily Elephant make a stack of 5 blocks. Very good, says Daddy Pig, but the tower looks a bit wobbly. Does anyone know how we can make the tower less wobbly? Asked Daddy Pig.
Put the big blocks at the bottom and the small blocks at the top,
suggests Edmund Elephant. Edmund is a clever clogs. Well done, Edmund, says Daddy Pig. That's right. The children go outside again. Who can tell me what we need to make a muddy puddle? Asked Daddy Pig.
Dirt and water,
Says Susie.
Wow.
Daddy Pig makes a puddle and asks Peppa to test it.
this puddle is too dry.
She sighs. Daddy Pig adds more water to the puddle. Please jump again, Peppa, he says.
The puddle is just right.
Cheers Peppa. All the children jump up and down in the puddle. Making muddy puddles is a bit like making concrete, says Daddy Pig. We're using concrete to make your new playground, says Daddy Pig. It starts off wet and soft like mud. Then it sets and goes hard forever.
Wow.
The big mixer pours concrete into the hole. Daddy Pig jumps in and stirs the concrete with his spade. Now it is gloopy like custard, he tells the children. Soon it will set as hard as a rock. Daddy Pig, I think you should step out of there, warns Mr. Bull. The concrete sets hard. All thanks to a bit of simple science, says Daddy Pig. Now, Mr. Bull, what were you saying? I was trying to say you should get out before the concrete sets, answers Mr. Bull. Ah, says Daddy Pig. Daddy Pig is stuck in the concrete. Oh no! Don't worry, Daddy Pig. I'll have you out in a jiffy, says Mr. Bull.
Hooray!
How? asked Daddy Pig. I'll dig up the playground, says Mr. Bull. The children love watching Daddy Pig being dug out of concrete. The end.
Hi kids, did you have fun watching this video? Then like and subscribe for more.